We are going to read Higurashi no Naku Kuroni MatsuriBayashi. Hopefully, I was also kind of tired yesterday because a few days ago I only had like 3 to 4 hours of sleep. It takes a while, a couple of days to kind of recover from that. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of all like, but I'm better. I feel better at least. Hopefully. I mean, I kind of read this at 9 p.m. at night, and for some reason I get drowsy when I read. Nowadays, for some reason. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So, anyway. Let's read. I went up to the second floor with Akasaka. To be honest, I couldn't even imagine how to start bringing it up. But even Hanyu made fun of me. I can't hesitate. I made up my mind and walked into the room and was surprised. My messy room is all cleaned up. Sadako's packing her pajamas and towels into her duffel bag. It's as if she's going on a camping trip.
Sadako, I'm home. Here, I got your luggage ready too. We can't just borrow toothbrushes and towels from MIONS, you know? Besides, we can't let some strange man stay in a messy room either. This is why I always tell you to tidy up things around here.
I blinked in surprise. I don't understand why Sadako already knows what's going on. If she saw me, Irie, and Tobitake talking behind the shrine with Oishi and a strange man, she'd be sure to get curious. Sadako must have overheard our conversation. Not only that, she packed our luggage and cleaned our room, which means she already knows Akasaka is going to stay in this house. She must have come home in a hurry to get things done.
So it wasn't just a storyline for some comic, was it? Me. You know, that's what I don't like about you, Rika. Have I ever doubted you before? I always thought I was your best friend that you would count on before me for anyone else. I am sorry.
Sadako doesn't seem that angry, but rather she seems shocked that what we talked about at school is real. She isn't really that upset. But this is exactly what Hanyu said. I thought Sadako was my best friend, yet I couldn't trust her completely. Having realized this, I apologized. Sadako turned around as if to tell me there's no time for apologies. I think she accepted it. As a proof of that, she's getting things ready to go to MIONS' house. Thank you, Sadako. It's kind of true, though, when Hanyu said, like, you kind of think of Sadako as a stray cat. Because remember, in, like, Minagoroshi, she was thinking about straight up, like, leaving the Sadako of that world behind for a next Sadako. Because it's like, she was just thinking about giving up for a while. Of course, her friends woke her up from that, but still. I mean, I understand, because I'm also quick to give up, so I'm not, like, being like, oh my god, Rika! Rika's one of my second favorite characters, okay? So I'm not trying to be too mean and critical, just saying it as it is, I suppose. You know? Anyway.
Akasaka, is it? I don't know how you and Rika know each other, but if you're Rika's ally, then you're mine too. You may call me Hojo Sadako.
Nice to meet you. I'm Akasaka. The conspiracy surrounding Rika runs pretty deep, and it's not easy to explain. She's afraid you reject her after she confessed to everyone, so please try to understand how she felt too.
Of course I understand. I'm Rika's best friend, you know. She was thinking that I didn't believe her. Who would? I can understand why she'd be afraid.
You're really mature, Sadako. Rika's lucky to have you as her best friend. I'm pretty envious of her. Sadako took Akasaka around the house and explained everything. She let him know the switch for the hot water heater sticks up a little, and if the picture on the TV gets messed up, he needs to tap on it. She even told him all about the trap she set around the shrine using a secret map of hers. Akasaka listened to her dead seriously. Upon seeing them talk, I couldn't help but smile. Hanyu also smiled while watching us, but it felt like she was saying, I told you so. I'm going to pretend that I didn't notice her. If our contrarian Sadako believed me this easily, then our simple-minded Mion will believe us even more easily. Wait, oops, nopes. Oops, that's Hanyu's line, my bad.
If our contrarian Sadako believed...
Wait, hold on. Shit. Don't! It was... Okay. I don't know what's wrong with me. I keep messing up. We'll try again. If our contrarian Sadako believed me this easily, then our simple-minded Mion will believe us even more easily. Keiichi doesn't even know how to doubt people, and Rena has sharp instincts. So she'll believe me too. So everyone's going to believe me, huh? Hanyu didn't reply, but she smiled as if happy to see that I grew a little.
Alright, there's plenty of things in the refrigerator. Rika! You're asking him to house sit, so why don't you make dinner for him tonight? Besides, just to be safe, perhaps we should go over to Mion's house a little later.
Oh, don't worry. I can handle that myself.
This is a chance to serve him your homemade food, Rika.
You really are annoying today. Oh, right.
Sadako, we have to make something good, huh? I have an idea. Can you bring out the large kimchi ball from the refrigerator? No, not that one. The one that says death penalty. Not the one that says punishment. Let's make kimchi fried rice today. Akasaka, do you like spicy food?
Oh, yes. I love spicy things.
The cream puffs in the refrigerator has expired, so let's throw them away. What a waste. I heard that they're famous from over in Ogogoro. The owl-owls are awfully loud today. Maybe a stray dog's howling somewhere.
Night is falling on the night of the 16th of June. The pieces are lining up on the final game board one after another. No. Pieces isn't the right word to call them. Night is falling on the 16th of June. We're gaining reliable allies for this final challenge. Our first key, Tomitake, will be killed in 3 days. Fate is going to change before that point. Because remember, of course that Rika would say, like Hanyu would say that she kind of thinks of everybody kind of like that. Because notice how Rika speaks she talks to them like she refers to them like pieces, you know? In a way, it's kind of dehumanizing. I mean, so, of course, so there are times that she would come off as cryptic and antagonistic. I sometimes do that too, so I can see that from Rika, so, yeah. Anyway.
Furuta and Hojo are absent today because they both have colds. The weather's changing, so it's easy to get sick. Make sure to cover yourselves when you go to sleep, okay? Okay! They lived together, so I guess they caught it together. Rika's supposed to perform as a shrine maiden on the day of Watanagashi. I hope she'll be okay, I hope.
We're planning to have lots of fun at the festival. I hope they recover by tomorrow somehow. Hey, do you want to go see them on our way home? Maybe we can bring something healthy for them to eat too. We don't need to. By the way, can you just stop by this old man's house today? Mio usually enjoys ideas like bringing people food when they're sick. For whatever reason, she was a little curt today. Actually, she's been acting a little different since this morning. Even when I talk to her, her thoughts are seen somewhere else. Now she's asking Rena and me to stop by at her house.
Your house, Mi-chan? What for?
Well, I need to talk to you about something important. I can't tell you right now, though. Mion seemed calmer than usual, which told me it was about something very serious. There's always lots of patients running to the clinic just before lunchtime. Because of that, lunchtime at the clinic is always later than normal people's. It's just a short break, though. Our afternoon shift begins right away. The staff are enjoying their break eating their delivery lunches. They can eat basically anywhere they want, as long as the patients can't see them, and it's not a place that we need to keep sterile. Because it's hot and humid, the meeting room with an air conditioner ends up being a popular place. The staff all eat their takeout lunches there. As I'm the director of this clinic, they might feel uncomfortable eating with me around. So I usually eat my lunch at the director's office out of consideration for them. Today I ordered lunch from the soba shop. I got an extra large serving of mori soba, that is. For whatever reason, they just call that dish an extra large. That makes ordering complicated, since if I order an extra large and a kitsune udon, They'll just deliver an extra large kitsune udon instead. But is this really a large? It looks more like a regular size to me. As I recall, the owner of the restaurant has hurt her hip, so she must have had hard time keeping things running. I was still thinking about that when Takano came in. She was carrying a really large-sized order in her hand. Apparently, she ordered a regular mori-soba, and I grabbed the wrong one by mistake. Ah, what a hassle. It's easy to confuse them, isn't it? They should use some kind of mark, you know. I agree. For example, they can put a flag like the ones on the kids' meal that says large size. Takano must have liked that idea. She laughed for a while. Would you like to join me? I invited her to sit on the sofa. Are you sure? Thank you, but could you turn the air conditioning down just a little? Sure, sorry about that. Here we go. Come to think of it, I haven't really talked too much with her. We were rather distant from each other, partly over the guilt of the organization becoming the Erie Institute. So with that and our respective positions, we had a taciturn agreement to not pry too deeply into each other. Since our attitudes toward our research are different, we never mingled before, so chatting over lunch is a good way to get closer to her. I wonder what she likes to talk about while eating. I guess I should start a peaceful conversation. I don't want her to go off about something like tapeworms. We're having lunch after all, and while I try to come up with a topic, she started talking instead. A flag on a kid's meal. That brings back memories. Do you think they still have those flags, though? I don't know. It's one of those things that endure. So it's possible they'll keep having flags on kids' meals even far in the future. Maybe an in-flight kids' meal on a spaceship will have a flag on it. That sounds interesting. I wonder if kids will collect those flags even in the future. Flags? Did you collect them? Oh, didn't you do that when you were a kid? Collect the flags from kids' meals? No way! When I was young, only rich kids could have meals like that. My family couldn't afford it. That's not true. My family was poor, but when we went to the mall, we had our lunch at a restaurant there. At that time, for me to go to the mall meant having a kid's meal, so whenever my parents went to the mall without me, I'd get very upset. Your childhood sounds very happy. But when they went to the mall without me one day, they got in an accident and died. Until I got a call about it. I was really upset with my parents going to the mall without me. I was sure they were having a meal there by themselves. As it happened, I only needed one more flag to make my collection complete. Collecting 20 of them was my goal. I was so upset that I couldn't complete my collection. That's awful, huh? It must have been horrible to lose her parents at that age when she was still interested in collecting flags from kids' meals. It's obviously still a painful memory for her. I see. I didn't know. By the way, is that why you came to doctor? Huh? Why? Oh, well, I aim to become a doctor because of the reasons involving my family, so I thought the same was true for you too. I earned my medical license because it was necessary to draw closer to the Hinamizawa syndrome. It might be rude to put it this way, but I only obtained my lessons as a byproduct of pursuing my research. How interesting. Even when she was still at medical school, she already knew about Hinamizawa syndrome. By the way, before I took on this job, I didn't know anything about this syndrome. Where did you find out about it? I was told that you read about something while you were looking through the late Dr. Takano's documents. I'm impressed that you already started researching while you were at school. Studying took up all of my time while I was a student. That's really incredible. Actually, I became familiar with Hinamizawa syndrome long before that. What does she mean? How old was she when she first found out about the syndrome? In fact, why did she become familiar with it at all? Just like Sadako and Rika, I didn't have any relatives. So I was sent to an orphanage. It was a horrible place. You remember how there was a flood of war orphans back then? I was in a truly awful orphanage built solely to gather up those children and bring in government subsidies. When I escaped from there, I was rescued by my grandfather, Dr. Takano. So you actually live with Dr. Takano? I see. Now I understand why you were familiar with his research documents at a young age. But why do you keep it a secret? Well, political reasons. It's one thing to request funding for a research on a mysterious disease, but it's another to request it for a research project of my late grandpa's. I see. Finally, a question's answered. The admiration you show when discussing Dr. Takano was always more than just respect for a fellow researcher. Still, since you respect him that much, He must have been a wonderful doctor with many genuine virtues. I don't know about genuine virtues. He died alone of an illness, with nobody around to understand him. He preferred being alone, which was a bad habit of his. That's why he couldn't find anyone who would support him. Still, he had you for an excellent assistant, didn't he? Speaking of which, your family name is read the same way as his, isn't it? Yes. It's not my real family name. I took my grandfather's out of respect. I actually wanted to write it the same way, but I thought it could get complicated when I explained it to my client, so I ended up using different characters. Now I could see the connection between their two last names. That also revealed the connection first between the names Hifumi and Mio, too. She doesn't need to tell me anything more than that. She lost her parents when she was young, and Dr. Takano took her in and loved her as if she was his own child. To show her love and respect, she decided to call him her grandfather. Now I know. That's the reason why she's devoted herself to researching Hinamizawa syndrome. Now I understand how much she must feel in knowing that her research is soon to be terminated. Rika said that she was hurt. Although I didn't know anything about it, I may have said something to hurt her before. I only cared about treatment and extermination, and didn't care about anything else until today. She must have considered that blasphemous toward her grandfather. Now I know why she became aggressive every time I expressed how I felt. After she was told that her research would be terminated, she stayed up all night and gathered lots of documents. She went to Tokyo and requested an extension without depending on anyone else. And that request was rejected. The documents she used are now in a box in the underground storage. She must have exerted a lot of effort to put them together. Even someone without any knowledge of our research could easily understand what she was trying to say. However, it looked like some of those documents weren't even opened. Some had marks that told me they weren't treated the way documents are supposed to be. I'm sure some pages had absorbed her tears without me ever knowing. I heard from Tokyo that Takano had left a terrible impression with the board of directors. It's not easy to overturn her bad impression. In other words, she can never request an extension on her research ever again. I was there when she found out about it. I was there when she found out she could no longer continue her grandfather's research, even though she must have promised him that she would complete it. Are you going to continue researching on your own after the Erie Institute shuts down? By the time the Erie Institute closes, the Hinamizawa syndrome will have been eradicated. Should I preserve the pathogen in a petri dish, kidnap someone, and infect them to research it? On my own, without equipment, funding, or a lab? Should I continue the research holed up in a study filled with the smell of formalin, and never recognized or acknowledged by anyone, just like my grandfather, so someone else can ridicule it? What would you have a loser like me who lacks the youth and energy anymore do to continue it? Tomitake once told me that the Erie Institute was supposed to be the Takano Institute. Our clients didn't like the idea of a young woman heading the facility, and that's why I was invited. It explains why she's been unfriendly since the day we've met. It must have been blasphemy to her to see me go about Hinamizawa syndrome and decide on a research plan according to my values and morals. To Takano, the syndrome is her grandfather. She must feel his presence while she's researching it. That's the reason why she often stays at the institute until late at night, though it makes the mountain dogs annoyed as they serve as security here. Would you like to drink some of the soba broth? Yes, please. Her shoulders look fragile to me for the first time. And now I'm sure of Rika's story. Takano holds an indescribable sadness within her, and if someone approached her pretending to understand, she might just fall for it. Because of my position, anything I say to her will only hurt her more, probably. Sometimes words can harm people, no matter how they're used. But the fact that I still spoke up showed how little experience I had in life. We could at least give the research you like to pursue a little more for our future budget. We managed to gain another 3 years from them at least. So we can give those 3 years our best. It was all a slip. Even as I spoke, I started to regret saying anything. I appreciate the sentiment, but it's even hard to watch somebody fall ill and waste away over 3 long years. If I remember right, Dr. Takano came down with acute dementia and chose to take his own life while his mind was still functional and out of despair at his inability to continue his research further. My verbal slip had made her remember a painful memory and hurt her even more. He went into a coma, and I had to make the decision as to whether or not to turn off his life support or not. Hey, Director Irie, if you were the doctor in charge of that patient, who would you have pull the plug? You wouldn't pull the plug yourself, would you? Takano asked me that as if it was a normal question. She was only expecting to hear one answer. If I was put into that position, then when the time came, I'd probably let his remaining family do it. That's what I thought. There's no way somebody wouldn't be there for their family's final moments. So I will be here for the final moments of the Hinamizawa syndrome, no matter what. Someone knocked on the door, and I heard the voice of one of the other staff members. Director, the afternoon shifts are beginning. Please get ready. Oh, okay, I'll be right there. I'll clean up. Why don't you go? Lots of elderly people are waiting to chit-chat with you. Takano laughed, but I know that laugh was trying to conceal her anguish. I'm not close to her personally, but she is my partner here at the clinic. I've been trying to avoid getting close to her, but maybe that was a mistake. If I had listened to her more, maybe I could have eased her pain a little. But it's too late. Tomitake is conducting an investigation to prove her innocence. Is she guilty or not? Either way, her heartache remains. After Irie left, Takano sat down on the sofa again and stared at nothing for a while. Then she got up and picked up the phone on the desk. This is Takano. Is Okanogi there? It's me. I was going to ask you to start on the 20th, but please begin observing R today instead. What difference does it make, or are you going to tell me it's too hard to start today? Yes, please do. We only have 5 days. You'd better be careful. More than careful, okay? Yeah, all right. Okay. Goodbye. Okanogi put down the phone and sighed. Although it's his job to do whatever Takano wants, he couldn't help but complain about getting such an order on an extremely hot day. Of course, if he complained, Takano would spit back twice as much reproach. Okanogi was sitting in the office of Okanogi Gardeners, a dummy company. As it happened, they regularly did gardening in Hinamizawa, if only so that nobody would get suspicious to see their uniform and man around. Good grief, I give up. Call in Nightingale and Skylark. Their vacations are canceled. The princess has given us the order to start observing R today. We'll have to move the schedule up by 3 days. The first day was Heron, right? Go with a group of 4, including 1 telephone observer, 1 telephone backup, 1 resident lookout, and 1 residence backup. Heron leader, he'll be at the command post. Also, we're stepping up our sabotage at the telephone station too. That would have been Nightingale's job, but it'll take a whole day for them to get here, so we'll use Phoenix instead. Phoenix 7, gather up a construction team and finish by the night. Can you do it? Of course, my women are all trained. By the way, Umineko fans, and just for fun, I think it's one of the characters that are called Skylark or something that don't have a sprite. I believe one of them's Amakusa. I don't know. When we read Umineko together, you'll find out. I don't freaking know. Okay. The Mountain Dogs are different from a regular battle unit. They're a technical squad formed from specialists in different fields of espionage. They will convert operatives for sabotaging telephone stations like Okanogi just ordered. 1 for wiretapping, intelligence gathering, information manipulation, establishing networks in public institutions, and many other various specialized fields. They belong to the self-defense force, some from fire departments, some from the police departments, and some are civil engineers. Of course, they have some experts in combat as well. Okanogi is one of those combat experts. He didn't expect too much from the engineers. While they all had gone through the same basic training, what they were capable of was child's play compared to what an expert can do. Okanogi is a leader of a unit made up mostly of members who can't even do 100 push-ups. Really, that was the only complaint that he had. He'd rather have been put in charge of the Bloodhounds, but somehow he became the leader of this strange unit, maybe because of his cautious yet courageous personality. Since combat was his expertise, Okanogi wished deeply for combat. During the kidnapping incident 5 years ago, the plan was for the resisting criminals to leave the hostage behind the scene and run after the police stormed in. He recalled the extremely frustrating memory of his combat with the plainclothes officer. That fat old man was acting so arrogantly, but he could have taken him in a matter of seconds. He could have just broken his neck. He could have turned him around and snap. It would have been so easy for him. He remembered a young policeman, too. He shot him in the shoulder. He could have shot at his ear. He was told to go easy on them, so that was the best he could do. He thought of firing a second shot, but there just wasn't time. So the last shot he fired was a reluctant one. Okonogi couldn't believe that such a pathetic bow was his last combat job. Regardless, he had continued to train, so he was ready at any time. Now that the operation had begun, he was hoping there would be a bow for him to fight. He didn't even need to fire a shot. He didn't even need to punch anyone. All Okonogi wanted was a bow that satisfied his pride, nothing more. Yes, one moment, please. Commander, there's a call for you. I don't know if it's for the commander or president, though. He's also the president of Okonogi Gardeners. Because of that, the members of the Mountain Dogs often call him that. Just a minute. I'll get my accent back. And what, really? How about that, huh? And who is it anyway? It's a woman. She says that her name is Nomura. She's asking for President Okonogi. And that's for the commander. I'll take it in my office. Please transfer it over. I heard a noise which sounded like many buckets crashing down. It's probably a noise from one of Sadako's traps. According to her trap map, anyone going near the wiretapping shack will set off a trap that makes a loud noise. That must have just been it just now. I scattered around the shack last night before the girls left. The shack is very secluded and is located in a blind spot where nobody is likely to go, so this noise must mean something important. It means they started their observation of Rika. I can't let them notice the girls aren't home. They'll definitely call and come by to confirm they're here. I have to make sure the girls are sick in bed so that they don't hear the phone or the doorbell. The curtains are closed so they can't see what's inside the house, but to be certain their beds are stuffed to make it look like they're sleeping. However, I have to be even more careful from now on. I can't let them notice that I'm staying here. For that matter, I have to make sure I can act when something happens. The phone rang suddenly. Just as I expected. They're calling to see if anyone's home. They're already aware they didn't go to school, so they're probably assuming they're home, sick in bed. I'm sure they want proof of that. The phone rang for a long time, which convinced me it was indeed a call from the Mountain Dogs. There was no answer on the phone, and the next step would be to come by the house. They'll pretend to be a mailman or a neighbor and knock on the door. But I don't even need to answer it. If the girls are too sick to answer the phone, they won't notice a knock on the door either. The increased hassle means a higher risk of discovery, but on the other hand, it proves our enemy is closing in on us. It's actually better for me since I can measure the severity of the situation. Besides, Irie is our ally. He already knows Rika is somewhere else. He's supposed to tell them he came by because he heard Rika and Sadako miss school. And the two of them are in bed and should be left alone for a while. He's supposed to say that. They won't doubt Irie. They will believe him. You could call this an advanced level of mutual deceit. They believe they're deceiving Irie, but in reality Irie is deceiving them. However, they're professionals, and we're a bunch of amateurs. Well, not me at least. Actually, maybe I'm not an exception. I don't know what they've got until I come face to face with them. Our conditions aren't even. We're leading by a tiny bit because we made the first move. Once that's gone, we don't stand a chance. I promised Rika that I trust her unconditionally, so even without proof, I'm ready to fight. But I can't beat this conspiracy by myself, and to gain help from others, Tomitake has to find proof. Tomitake is in charge of our first attack. That means he's in the most danger, too. It's understandable that Rika kept warning him to be very careful. He should have started his investigation as early as last night. If that's the reason why they've become observing Rika, I can only pray for his safety and the success of the investigation. I heard a voice. Irie had arrived. Sadako! Rika! I'm here to give you an examination! I heard the footsteps coming up the stairs and a quiet knock. I'm alone. Don't worry. We have to keep it down. This house is already under observation. I let Irie in and closed the door quickly. How are you? It must be getting hot in here since you can't open the windows, huh? I brought something for you. He handed me a plastic bag. It contained ice cream, cans of juice, some snacks, and even beer. Well, this obviously isn't for Rika. I feel like he's being a little careless, but I am grateful. So, how is everything? I heard the noise from the wiretapping shack earlier. The phone rang for a long time shortly afterward. I'm sure they found out the girls missed school today and called in to check. Has anyone asked you to come check on Rika? Yes. Takano told me to go check since they missed school and haven't come by the clinic. I knew it. Do you think that she's suspicious about their absence? No. I think it has something to do with Tomitake starting his investigation. Even if it doesn't, this may give him a chance to find out something. Either way, it's already begun, hasn't it? Yes, more than likely. I don't know if our enemies are Takano and the Mountain Dogs, or somebody else. Either way, that somebody has started to take action. I can't help but think of the series of mysterious deaths. The first 2 years were just coincidences, but starting with the third, I think Takano became intrigued and started expecting something to happen on the white night of Watanagashi. Watanagashi is the day after tomorrow. It'd be the perfect opportunity for them to do something. She's aiming for Rika on the 5th year running. This Takano is a frightening woman. What Rika said about Takano, I think it's all true. I just found out today, but she was adopted by Dr. Takano, the one who discovered Hinamizawa syndrome. The same pronunciation, huh? I see. To her, continuing the research, the syndrome was like a promise she made to her beloved grandfather. But as the project would be terminated, it's almost likely they're spitting on his grave. That's exactly what Rika said, isn't it? Yes. Also, Takano said something else. She compared a dying patient in a coma to the project that's going to end in 3 years. She says that family members have the right to turn off the switch for the life support machine. So the project is being terminated anyway. Takano Mio, who considers herself a family member of the late Dr. Takano, should be the one to terminate it. Yes, I think that's what she meant. We're gathering the circumstantial evidence we need. Takano is in fact our enemy. Irie had been reluctant to accept it yesterday, but now he believes what Rika said is true. We need Tomitake to find some proof that shows Takano was planning something. And we call in a subjugation squad to arrest all those involved. Takano has the Mountain Dogs working for her. The squad can down even them. Yes, I don't know anything about them, but there's another unit called the Bloodhounds. They're a combat unit deployed in the case of a true emergency. The Mountain Dogs are more of an intelligence unit for covert operations. They're likely far beyond matched. The subjugation squad was organized to counter the off chance of a rebellion by the Secret Research Institute. They must be quite powerful. So you're saying our conditions for victory are summoning these bloodhounds into Hinamizawa? That would be correct. However, my one concern is that emergency manual contains passages authorizing the massacre of the village to preserve secrecy. I'm still worried that even if the bloodhounds are brought in, they'll destroy all evidence, including the village itself, which wouldn't be any different. No, they wouldn't. If the enemy's intent is to trigger the execution of the emergency manual, that doesn't make sense. If this conspiracy is caused by the factions infighting, the Irie Institute's clients will want to resolve the conflict quietly. They're sure to raid the enemies and sell everything while the villagers are still confused as to what's going on. I know this because I've done similar jobs myself. They'll pass through like a gale and complete their operation swiftly, and a unit capable of pulling that off against the Mountain Dogs must be very powerful. We'll just have to wait until we hear from Tomitake. Yes, this will be a battle of endurance, and once it lights up, it'll become a blitzkrieg. This will be a hard battle with rapid shifts in pace. It's reassuring to us that you're in the enemy's midst, but at the same time, you're in a very vulnerable position. Please don't let your guard down. The moment we decided to be Rika's allies, we became their enemies. I understand. The phone at this house, of course, is being wiretapped, so Irie has to come over to communicate with me. But that won't work in an emergency. A telephone is still better in that case. For those instances, I put together a memo for Irie. There's a method for communicating over a phone that's been bugged. It's something I came up with out of necessity once. What is this? A method for calling me in case of an emergency. Please make sure the enemy doesn't get a hold of it. If you're in danger, swallow it. The phone's being tapped, so how can we make a call? If you pick up the phone, even if you don't say anything, they might get suspicious. We can communicate even without me picking up the phone. There's a little trick to it, but we can at least send across what's important. And you're the only one who can do it, since you'll be the first person who notices the enemy's movements. Alright, then how do I do it? It's in the memo. Let me explain briefly. We'll use the ringtone. When you make a call, normally we won't let the phone ring over a minute. We'll use that to communicate. If the phone rings for a minute, that means it's dangerous. Leave. If the phone rings for a minute and a half, it means it's an emergency. Head to the Sonozaki residence. The difference in those 30 seconds. You can look for the memo for other messages you can send. But please memorize these two at least. My life depends on it. The message that lets me know that my life is in danger is a shorter call. but if it's too short, I'll get confused with regular phone calls. That's why to signal me, he's supposed to hang up the phone within 3 seconds first and place an emergency call. The reason why I use such large difference of time is to make sure there's no misunderstanding. The tones the caller hears and the ring the receiver sends out are a little different. I don't want that little difference to change the message, which is why they had to be 30 seconds apart. A short ring first, and 1 minute means run. A minute and a half means to head where Rika is. Okay, I got it. It's a little troublesome, I know, but it's just for emergencies. Please remember it. Yes, I understand. When danger strikes, I'll handle communications. Also, one more signal I want you to remember. It's not a very good code, but please don't forget it just the same. For this one, you don't need to do one short ring. You just need to let the phone ring over 3 minutes. It's probably best to just place the call and leave it. What does that mean? Contact in danger. Further contact impossible. So that's to tell you that I'm in danger then. Yes. In case of an emergency, please call this house, leave the phone off the hook, and hide somewhere aside. Even so, it's very hard to anticipate when you yourself will be in danger. You'll lose your chance to call when you're thinking, I'm still fine or I'm probably fine. If you sense something odd, that's an emergency. Knowing the seriousness of the conspiracy, they won't hesitate to kill us. Please be very careful. I understand, but if that happens, what are you going to do? It depends on the situation. I'll probably leave this house. If you're in danger, then Rika's in danger too. I'll head to the Sonozaki residence and join Rika. But this is only the worst case scenario. I'm not sure if it'll actually happen, so don't be nervous. Relax, okay? But also be very careful, right? That's right. Hinata deeply. It's almost time. Something is about to happen. Oh, shit. Ugh. So that's it. Does anyone have any questions? I have plenty of questions. This could easily be one of those well-planned pranks. What I heard is just extraordinary. But right now it's a bad idea to ask questions just out of curiosity. That'd be a waste of time. MIONS already explained everything about the events surrounding Rika. Well, I have a few things to ask myself as a successor to the head of the Sonozaki family, because all this has something to do with a series of mysterious deaths. But I won't go into that for now. All in all, it was a good idea to come to my house. You can survive a nuclear war here in our basement. There's electricity and a telephone there too. Of course we have plenty of food too. And the mountain dogs are really that tough, and this house is the only place in that village that's safe from them.
I'm sorry to have involved all of you in this.
Rika apologized from the bottom of her heart. Rika's been dealing with this strange disease, this Hinamizawa syndrome, as well as all these suspicious Tokyo people all by herself until today. She's been trying not to get us involved. That's why she's dealt with them all by herself. You can all imagine what she must have been feeling, so none of us can even think of anything to say. The silence went on for a while, but then Hanyu clapped Rika on the back.
Rika, you've been apologizing so much since yesterday. If you apologize one more time, you'll have to treat me like a cream puff every day. Hello. Besides, we all feel bad, don't we? Am I wrong, Keiichi?
Hanyu suddenly addressed me. I could tell from her eyes she was expecting something from me. Right. My role is to act as a flint for the other club members. It's my job to burn strong and bright red to get everyone excited. What am I doing just sitting around? That's right, Rika. We never even thought all this could be true, so we're just shocked for the moment, but we're all thinking that things are getting interesting, right, guys? Sadako, this right here is a real deal. You got some good traps lying in wait, don't you? I know you've been hiding some amazing ones for special occasions like these. This is a perfect chance to try them out, don't you think?
You should be grateful for my presents. I don't know who they are, but if it's all right to get serious, then I won't hesitate to launch countless miraculous traps I refrain from using on our club members. That's right. Your traps come with Mii-chan's seal of approval. They can chase away even a real army.
Well, Sadako aside, you're pretty merciless yourself, Rena. You're usually so easygoing, but I know your true power. Yeah, when you get serious, you might be the most powerful of us all. You sure are something. I don't think I can defeat you. Rena blowing up the school. She actually did do that in the Midnight Killing arc. That is a manga only one.
Oh, stop. Your explosive impact is incredible too, Keiichi. Your power can defeat a fate that I'd had no chance against. If Keiichi's a furious red flame, then Rena is a quiet blue one. Hey, that's a good one! The burning red ranger, my bar Keiichi, and the burning blue ranger, Ryugu Rena. This is our chance to show the world what we've got. We're a powerful team with a powerful leader. Right, Mion? We're already powerful individually, and when we gather, we're invincible! That's our club, right, guys? You know, I kept quiet thinking it might be imprudent, but actually, I've been thinking. This is getting super interesting. I appreciate this, Rika. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. How dare they even think about stepping in Himi's all without saying hello to us? I'll make sure to teach them some manners. It'd only been 5 minutes since Rika apologized to everyone and brought the mood down, and yet morale was already at its peak again. We're up against such absurd conspiracies, but if we're together, I think we can defeat it. This is the best feeling ever. Hanyu's the one who started all this. She's quite the promising newcomer. She knew exactly who must to get motivated first. No, moreover, while using our senior members were hesitant on making such a huge opponent somewhere in their hearts, she alone remained unflinching and raised our spirits. She's likely to grow even more formidable in the future. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for believing me. Of course we believe you. I told you that already. If we didn't, we wouldn't be your friends. There's no need to thank us, Rika.
Yeah, she's right. Listen to Hanyu. You've got great spirit. I like you. I rubbed Hanyu's head. She laughed as I was tickling her. Okay then, let's settle. We have to get things organized. First, Rika and Sadako are supposed to be absent from school because they're sick, but in reality they're hiding here. This is just a preventative measure. Nobody would even guess that they're hiding here thanks to a certain Akasaka.
How nice of him. He came because of the promise he made 5 years ago. That's kind of cool. I'm a little jealous. He isn't my type, but I'm a little jealous too.
It's Rika that's her type.
Me, it's not like that though.
He works for the public safety of the police headquarters in Tokyo, and he belongs to a secret unit, right? That sure sounds reliable. Being part of a secret unit makes it sound even better too.
Akasaka's very strong. He's definitely reliable.
But Akasaka's role is more of a protective one in cases of emergency. Tomitake has the more important job of finding out things about our enemy. He's our true attacker. Plus, he's the only one who can call in the Bloodhounds to take out our enemies. In other words, Tomitake is our key to victory. It's a bit unsettling to think that so much is riding in the hands of some dumb cameraman. Everyone teased her by saying they're gonna tell Tomitake she called him that!
It's not that I don't expect him to succeed, but I think we should just come up with another tactic just in case. But, Hanyu, what else can we do other than count on Tomitake?
No, Hanyu's right. Tomitake is a key factor of the enemy's point of view too. If they find out he's investigating them, they might even have him killed. This is enemy territory for him too, after all. I think we should come up with something else instead of just depending on Tomitake.
Very true! It's hard to score with just one trap. I usually set many traps to deal with many different possibilities. That's basic trap tactics, you know? That's true. There's no need to limit ourselves to just one angle to attack. We should look into other methods besides what Tomitake's doing. Well, we don't know anything about Tokyo, do we?
Well, if one Tomitake's important job is to summon the Bloodhounds, I'd like him to teach us how to call them. Then, even if Tomitake is taken out by the enemy, we can still meet our victory conditions. Yeah, that sounds about right. Tomitake is really important. At the same time, he's our Achilles heel. Let's talk to him and make him tell us about how to contact the Bloodhounds. Problem is, he's holed up somewhere in the city. There's no way for us to get a hold of him.
I think that's a great idea, though. The next time we get a chance to talk to Tomitake, let's ask him. So that's the first plan. Is there anything else?
Before we knew it, Hanyu was making sure we moved along our proceedings. Rena noticed that too and gave a pleasant smile to the girl trying to be a part of our group. This is just one insurance in case something happens to Tomitake. Let's think of a different angle of attack. What about something that would help in this investigation?
Oh, how intriguing! We'll launch some kind of trap, grab them by the tail, and thrust any proof they can't talk their way out of in their faces! My, what a perfect trap situation! If I'm the one they want, why don't you use me as a decoy? It's dangerous, but Takano and the other needs me, so they'll definitely fall for it. That's really dangerous, but that would prove Takano is after Rika.
Have them see her and make them chase her. That would lead to something interesting. And that's where Sadako's Hills come in.
Once they go up there, they'll be in big trouble.
You said it! Boy, that'll be a sight to see. This is gonna be great!
That should be the final method we use, though. Once we barricade in the hills, the situation will change quite a bit. This should be our last resort. She's right! The traps in the hills are great as a defense measure, but that's all I can do. They can't attack the enemy for us.
The barricade on the hill is our last resort, huh? The very final resort, for when the enemy attacks this location, and we have no choice but to leave. By the way, we have an underground tunnel leading out that's connected to the well in the back. Wow, your house is amazing, Mion. Oh shit, this is getting really crazy. The enemy is a mystery organization, we have a secret operation, a secret base, and now a secret underground tunnel? Wow! This is just the sort of thing that gets a guy excited!
I'm not a guy, but I'm excited. Okay, now that we have 2 ideas, we'll come up with more. Can anyone think of anything else?
Let's see. We want at least one more. That last one is a rather defensive tactic too. Isn't there something more aggressive that's perfect for our club? You know, some way to hit them real good on an awesome blow that'll set back the conspiracy.
Can we pull off something like that? Yeah, I'm sure we can. We're not as powerless as you think, Rika. It's not like we don't have cards to play. You're their ultimate objective and you're with us. That's one crucial card on our side. And not just in the sense of using you as bait.
That's true. It's a huge disadvantage for them to have the Queen Carrier. I mean, what's their goal? Kill Rika, trigger this emergency manual, and eliminate the whole village. And use that in chaos in their internal faction wars. I messed up, right?
Yeah, to them Rika is like a fuse on the stick of dynamite. They want to set that dynamite off, cause chaos, and use it to gain something for themselves. So if we keep it from exploding, we win. That's gonna be pretty tough. You're right, we have to continue defending her, but all they have to do is kill Rika in any way. It's like a soccer game with a goal on only one side.
To denounce this unfair game for what it is and call them the Bloodhounds is the point of Tomitake's operation, right? Isn't there a goal for us, though, where we defeat their conspiracy? There must be something. Sometimes it works to think from the opposite point of view. Like flipping the chessboard. Oh! There is one. Mion started to grin in a weird way. Here she goes. The winds are blowing stronger on her side and she's getting to a better and top form. Mion's pretty smart. She's great at analyzing situations. That's why when Rika first told her everything, she immediately decided there was no way for us to win and became depressed. However, when Mion's easily crushed, she's also able to exhibit incredible power when the wind's on her side. We created that tailwind, and now her sail is receiving the push it needed. Let me confirm this one more time, Rika. That emergency manual was designed to prevent all the villagers from going insane within 48 hours of your death, right?
Yes, that's its purpose. Rika's never died before, so how can they know something like that will happen within 48 hours? She's right! Yeah, that's really strange! How can they say that for sure when all the villagers will go crazy within 48 hours? Well, according to Takano, something similar apparently happened to another country, and that's where they got the 48 hours from. I have no idea, though. Actually, Irie says he doesn't understand it either.
Ah! Could it be? I see. Oh, oops, sorry. That was supposed to be Sadako's line. I messed up.
Could it be? I see. I know their weak point.
I see it too. Yeah, that's right. This is their blind spot.
What are you two talking about? I don't get it. I don't get it either.
Hey, Rika, Rena, you don't understand? Why don't we put the last person to figure it out through a punishment, huh? How about you, Hanyu? Haven't you figured it out yet?
Yes, I have. That's why Rika's more important than Takano. by using this emergency manual. In other words, this manual is in fact the enemy's Achilles heel. Me, I don't get it. Rika, if you apologize for everything you've done to me, I'll tell you. No way. Stop that howling. I want to concentrate.
What? Haven't you figured it out yet, Rena? Listen, our attack depends on Tomitake, and that's our Achilles heel. On the other hand, the enemy's attack depends on the emergency manual. So if we destroy the foundation of the emergency manual, do you see? Just have to make the emergency manual use its function.
What's the meaning of the emergency manual? It's supposed to hide the existence of the syndrome by making it look like a disaster. So that's why they have to wipe out the entire village within 48 hours. That's what the enemy intends to do, at least. So you're saying that we have to stop them from executing the manual within 48 hours? But those 48 hours don't start until I'm killed, so, I need to outrun them for those 48 hours? Me.
Hey, you two are already saying the answer. You good? Let's say the answer out loud. Everyone ready? Here we go. Rika has to die 48 hours prior. We all said it in unison. Boy, we're good at this. We never mess it up.
I know I got it. I got it too.
Rena and Rika clapped their hands together. They finally figured it out. Why did it take so long for us to come up with this?
We finally got it. We should come up with this on the first try. We've been speaking only in defensive terms, so I thought you might have never thought of this idea.
Oh, listen to you. I love you even more, Hanyu. In recognition of your achievements, I'll award you our club's special order cross medal later. Anyway, let's talk about the operation. Their goal is to execute the emergency manual. Hidden in that goal is actually a huge weak point. The foundation of the manual is the notion that the villagers will go crazy within 48 hours of the Queen Carrier's death. In other words, if nothing happens in the 48 hours after Rika's death, the foundation of this emergency manual collapses. That's it, to say the least. Nobody really wants to do such a terrifying thing. If they don't execute the manual, the villagers might go mad and spread to the surrounding communities. They're hesitant to execute, but they want to keep the damage to a minimum. But what if they find out Rika's body 48 hours after her death? The major premise is that villagers will lose their minds within 48 hours of the Queen Carrier's death will collapse.
Fortunately, Rika's hiding is here, so it's possible for us to lie about her death.
The last time Rika was seen yesterday was at school. It'll be 48 hours after that in the early morning of the day after tomorrow. It'll be perfect for her body is found around that time. In other words, they're using the tactic that Takano was playing and turning it against her.
I see. It's possible to fake Rika's death with the help of that Oishi. Indeed! We'll ask Oishi to send out an announcement that Rika's body has been found and it has at least been 48 hours since her death.
Well, it might create some issues if he announces it publicly, so we can let the Erie Institute know. Coach is on our side, so it'd be possible to deceive them.
That is... what an idea.
Once the emergency manual loses its credibility, such a horrible operation will never be approved. In other words, there are weak points of the emergency manual and Rika.
Oishi hasn't agreed to help us yet, but I know he will. This would be such an amusing trap. I could just picture Takano running around in a panic. Takano believes Sadako and I are sick in bed with a cold, but she hasn't actually seen us. She's just assuming it's true. But as it turns out, we were somewhere else, and suddenly my body shows up, having been dead for over 48 hours. This is gonna be super thrilling!
The masterminds will have to accept the failure of the emergency manual and withdraw. That's when the hunters become the hunted. By the time Tomitake will find out something about the enemy.
And he'll call on the Bloodhounds to defeat them! That's our goal!
All right! I can smell victory from here. Man, how perfect this is. This is all gonna work out. I'm sure of it. We all encouraged each other with a hip hip hooray. This is definitely gonna get really, really interesting. Still, what's the key to the claim of Rika being dead in 48 hours is believable? For that, we'll need Oishi's help. And as we thought about asking him, he arrived at the Sonozaki residence. Oishi knows that Rika's hiding here. He also knows some members of the Mountain Dogs have infiltrated the police station. They even wire-trapped Rika's home phone. The safe way to contact her, he figured, is in person. I saw Dr. Iri earlier. He told me to tell you Akasaka's doing just fine. He's grown a lot in the past 5 years. He'll hold down the fort. Oishi loosened his tie while drinking his barley tea. I bet he's never thought about drinking a glass of the barley tea at home of his old enemy, the Sonozaki family.
So, Oishi, what do you think of the 48-hour operation?
I think it's a pretty good idea. It'll shake them up quite a bit. In their panic, they'll make mistakes for sure. And that'll give Tomitake the chance to get a drop on them. No, it's a really great strategy. They say two heads are better than one, but with all your young minds together, you've come up with a fantastic idea. Oishi laughed in admiration and assured us the operation would definitely make an impact. However, he hesitated a little too. This is pretty sink or swim, you know. Whether we win or lose, we'll have to take responsibility. I'll do my best to pull out the splitters, but if I don't do a good job at it, I'll end up in pretty deep. I have to resign myself to that. In our 48-hour operation, Oishi ends up bearing most of the responsibility. The police are a strict organization. There's no guarantee they won't investigate. Oishi is planning to retire this year. He needs his pension in order to pay off his mortgage. He's at a very delicate point in his life. While this is a big deal for Rika, it's a lot to ask of Oishi too. He has a risk of throwing away everything for our sakes. Shit. This operation is a great idea, believe me, but I just can't. Oishi, if it's too much, you don't have to accept the part. We don't want to win by using you as a sacrifice. Nobody knew what to say to him, but Hanyu broke the silence. She's full of energy out during our club, but at times like this, she also has the power to heal the hearts of those who are hesitating and growing weak. It's like being enveloped in a mysterious embrace. If her appearance matched her level of maturity, Hanyu would probably look like a mother.
Besides, we're members of the most powerful club in the world, even if the 48-hour...
Shit. Besides, we're members of the most powerful club in the world. Even if the 48-hour operation can't work, we're sure to come up with another idea straight away, right, Mion? Yeah, that's right. Oishi, you can say no, okay? We shouldn't have gotten all excited about this without even considering your situation.
Yeah, that's true. I'm sorry, Oishi.
Rena whispered to me while watching them talk.
Hanyu is pretty good at this. Who can say no when a cute girl says stuff like that to them?
What? What do you mean? Is that what's Hanyu trying to do? Oh shit, I should have taken that as indication that Hanyu was saying it. Damn it. I messed up.
Me. She's even more sly than I am.
At Oishi moaned and groaned, Hanyu looked over and grinned wickedly at us. I take it back. This girl, she really is sly. Hanyu is more dangerous than I thought. Next time we do a club activity, I really have to watch out. Please let me sleep on it. There's someone at the station I really trust, so I guess I'll discuss it with him. Don't worry, he wouldn't rat me out. If I agree to this, I can't make any mistakes, so before I do, please let me think of a chance of success. I should have taken that as indication with Hanyu! I'm so stupid! Oishi never makes promises unless he's sure he can keep them. That's why he speaks cautiously, but considering his position, it certainly was a decision that required courage.
Don't worry, Oishi. Even if you lose your pension, Mion will take care of it. Won't you? Me. If he's going to help us, we have to do that for Oishi. Me.
Huh? Well, you know, despite how I look, my family's pretty rich. We got 2 sly foxes. Our club is going to be the epitome for free-for-all in the future. The meeting ends with that. We'll find out if we can go ahead with the 48-hour operation or not by tomorrow, depending on Oishi's answer. We haven't heard from Tomitake yet, but I'm sure he started his investigation on Takano. The coach and Akasaka have to wait patiently, each surrounded by the enemy. They're both in very dangerous positions, so I'll just have to pray for their safety. And then there's Takano. I'm still having a hard time believing she's involved in such a vast conspiracy. If someone told me the whole thing was a lie, I might even believe them. That's why I want Tomitake to investigate. She's mysterious and a bit cold, but she can be fun around to be with too. I also always thought of her as one of the villagers. It hurts me more than a little to suspect one of your own. I can understand what Tomitake's going through. This doesn't have to be an investigation to confirm her guilt. Instead, I want him to prove that she's not guilty. It's too painful for people to doubt one another. Shit, I don't remember whose perspective is that. Hello, sorry for making you call me so often, First Lieutenant Tomitake. That's okay. Did you find out anything? A background investigation usually takes a few months. It can't be rushed within a day or two, but Tomitake sensed that something huge was starting to make its route after what Rika and the others told him. Oops. It was definitely getting closer, but once it was close enough to see, it would be too late. That's why he was checking on their progress so frequently. We're still investigating Major Takano as we speak. When she took the position in the Alphabet Project, her background was already investigated by a different department, so we requested those documents be handed over. The entire team is investigating what she's been doing since she joined the project. Please give us a little longer. I understand, however, the situation is urgent, so please work as quickly as you can. Yes, of course. By the way, we got an emergency order to investigate the Erie Institute today, unrelated to your request. It's our top priority now. The Chief of Staff requested it. The Chief of Staff? It isn't related to my request? Yes. Well, it's supposed to be a separate matter, but from what I see, I think this is a powerful boost from the top towards your investigation. The Chief of Staff is helping out. What does this mean? The only thing I can assume is the top members of the SDF have realized the danger of the conspiracy surrounding the Erie Institute. Like Rika said, if this conspiracy's intent is to execute the emergency manual, the all-opposing camp will try to stop that from happening. Sorry, I have problems reading abbreviations sometimes too. This is, like, I was trying to read Kikonia for fun. Didn't stream it because you shouldn't be streaming it because Ryukishi requested that in the game. And I was already fumbling on all the freaking long-ass titles. So anyway, my request for an investigation for the first step is putting a stop to their plans. So the masterminds were influencing the Chief of Staff. He'd probably try to shut my investigation down. But he's supporting it instead, which probably means the Chief of Staff isn't my enemy. In fact, he might belong to the opposing camp. No, it's hard to say if he belongs to them or not. He might just be under the ones from pulling the strings for the opposing camp. If that's true, the enemy's already noticed something. It's possible to start exerting pressure soon enough. So how much can I find out before that happens? I don't know much about the top brass. Still, for the Chief of Staff to get involved, putting aside if Takano was guilty or not, I'm certain that something extremely big is starting to happen around the Erie Institute. We're making progress on investigating the Institute. We haven't analyzed the data yet, but some of the financial records are suspicious. We don't know if it's simple paperwork mistake or if someone's actually trying to juggle funding, but I'm having an expert look into it. What do you mean by suspicious? Well, as you know, there's an account for the funds supplied to the Erie Institute, but the numbers don't match up. It's possible there's inflows or outflows of money that haven't been recorded. Besides that, there's questionable dates on some receipts. We're suspecting forgery. Funds are usually supplied annually. For example, if a budget of 1 million yen is approved, 1 million is supplied in April, and the facility manages those funds so they can keep running things for 1 year. So depending on how they use the money, it's possible to have some left over at the end of the year. If they used only 900,000 yen, they'll have 100,000 left. And for the following year, they'll be told they only needed 900,000 yen. 900,000 should be enough. Furthermore, there would be only 100,000 yen left over, so they would only need 800,000 the following year. Therefore, then they would only get 800,000 yen when April comes around, which is 200,000 yen less than the previous year. As some of you have already noticed, the more leftover money you have, the fewer funds you receive the next year. Therefore, it's smart to use up your entire budget, but some people try to get by until the end of the year. And if there's 100,000 yen left, they try to make it look as though they've used up the money, even when it's in fact safe somewhere. They report that they used exactly 1 million yen, and they'll get another 1 million yen the following year. Yet there is still 100,000 yen sitting in a safe. This 100,000 yen is called a pooled fund or a slush fund. If they keep running with only 900,000 yen per year, then the 100,000 will be added to the slush fund in a safe annually. And only a handful of people will know about that money. This is how public funds get embezzled or turned into private money. As we previously mentioned, the Alphabet Project is using this exact trick. Certain masterminds are pulling in huge amounts of public funding. To avoid this kind of situation, there's usually audit accounts performed every year, and an oversight to ensure no one's fattening their pockets or creating slush funds. By the way, it's been said the reason why civil engineering projects tend to start up at the end of the year is so that they won't have that 100,000 yen left. But that's not relevant right now. Point is, they have to work hard to get the funds they want. Well, that's an example of having some money left over, which is certainly not bad. However, it can also be possible that there isn't enough money. After all, they're only granted 1 year's worth of funds, so they can't delve into a savings account like we do in our lives. That excess money just doesn't exist. Therefore, an estimate report should never show more expenditure than revenue. If that happens, that means there's some extra money other than what was supplied. That's how slush funds are discovered. Tomitake was told it was under investigation still, but the Erie Institute's suspicious financial records could be either case. The former would be fine. It's quite common after all. But if it was the latter, there could be something quite nasty lying beneath the surface. In other words, it was quite possible the funding was coming into the Erie Institute from someone other than the formal sponsors. To be more exact, there was a chance that someone was interfering with the Erie Institute by supplying funds. Tomitake was having his men look into the possibility of Takano and the Mountain Dogs rebelling against Tokyo. While it was certainly possible for Takano to do so because of her personal investment in the research project, it's hard to believe the Mountain Dogs could betray their employers out of sympathy. For the dogs to take part in Takano's conspiracy, a huge amount of money would be involved. The discrepancy that Tomitake's men had identified could be a sign of such. Hello? Sorry, I just received a report. You know Koizumi, don't you? The head of the old Koizumi faction? He passed away recently, which led to the faction breaking up. You know anything about a personal relationship between him and Major Takano? Yes, I heard about that. But did you know that Koizumi and the late Dr. Takano had a personal relationship? No, I see. Now I know why Koizumi doted over Major Takano. This is very interesting. As a matter of fact, after Koizumi's death, his private accounts were liquidated. They found some withdrawals made by Koizumi himself instead of the attorney who took his finances. It happened about a year before the Erie Institute's establishment was approved by the Alphabet Project. Didn't Koizumi use the money to make necessary arrangements beforehand in order to establish the institute? No, his attorney took care of the money for that, so the withdrawal wasn't made for that purpose. It must have been a very personal expenditure, considering that he bypassed his trusted attorney. So that could involve the relationship between Koizumi and Takano. Does that mean Koizumi supplied funds to Major Takano personally? Yes, that's what we think. I'm trying to corroborate as we speak. We think Koizumi gave money to Major Takano for purposes other than the necessary arrangements for establishing the institute. So we're saying it's possible that Major Takano has a huge amount of cash at her disposal to help instigate a revolt. To establish the institute, Major Takano adjusted things with various organizations, but she did all that through legitimate means. So if she didn't use any of her personal supplies, she should still have the whole amount at her disposal. I'm sorry, but what is that amount? 1 billion yen. What? I'm very close to Takano, but I had no idea she was so rich. Actually, she's rather tight with her money. She never acted as if she had 1 billion yen just sitting around. But then, that money isn't just money to her. It's a form of support from her dear grandfather's friend. So she'd have to save it for when she needed it most. If the new board of directors had even a little interest in her research, she would have used the money on them, but they simply laughed at her. So Takano gave up bribing them. Instead, she decided to use it now, because her research project was going to be terminated anyway. With 1 billion yen, it might be possible to bribe the Mountain Dogs. If she has sponsors, it'll be even easier. Her grandfather couldn't complete his life's work, but she's planning a magnificent conclusion for it. Shit. Those can't be her true intentions. Someone has to be deceiving her. Takano, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't notice your sorrow, even though I've been right beside you. It was hard to read too because I was kind of getting sad. Anyway. I know there's extra tips still available. So anyway. There will be. I know there will. Oh, okay. Alright, so
Alright,